back to Bread and Butter, everybody. We're serving up the basics for Hearthstone improvement in episode 75. As always, I'm joined by my co-host Tito. Tito, how are you doing today?
Doc, I'm doing pretty good, but let me tell you something. We had a guest lined up this week, Electric Sheep City. He was so excited to talk about our topic tonight. And then he decided that he was going to go and just spend time with his family while his wife had an emergency appendectomy. I mean, can you believe the nerve of that guy? So what I had to do was I had to go into the dredges. I had to go in and just find anybody that could fill in. And if you'll introduce our guest, he was willing to fill in at the last minute. We love the guy.
Yeah, and our awesome guest today is Jay from This Week in Hearthstone. How are you doing today?
What's up, everybody?
Now, wait a second. I get confused about this because is it Jay from This Week in Hearthstone or Jay is This Week in Hearthstone?
Whichever one works for you at that time. It's very easy. I'm Jay, and I have a channel and This Week in Hearthstone is what the channel is called. So whatever you want to call me, I did not have an appendectomy today.
How are you?
Good. Busy, but very, very good.
Well, what have you been doing inside of Hearthstone?
A lot of everything. Number one, I am helping my wife learn some of these net decks that everybody's playing right now so she can be more competitive. I'm playing Battlegrounds. I'm messing around with Battlegrounds duos. And there's this little thing that came out a couple of days ago. You might have heard of it. It's called Twist. And I've been playing that all weekend long.
Doc, how about yourself? What have you been doing inside the world of Hearthstone?
Yeah, I've been doing a couple BGs. I've discovered that if I don't try to force dragons, I don't finish top 4. So I am going to continue to try to force dragons as much as I can, because apparently that's the only tribe I can play right now. And then I've also been playing some Twist. I haven't played it a bunch because, as usual, my life outside Hearthstone is relatively busy. But I've been enjoying what I have gotten to play in Twist. And it's a fun time. How about yourself, Tito?
So the season wrapped up for May, and my number was still 5 digits, but it was closer to 4 digits. And I think we talked about this a little bit last couple weeks. I had played over 500 at Legend, so I have seen my number go down each month, and I'm improving. So if you get into Legend, you're seeing your number. Don't necessarily look at it and say, "Hey, I'm not doing so well. My Legend number is blah." It takes a while sometimes to fix your MMR, to get your MMR to a good place. So just focus on each game and see how you're doing. Because, like I said, I won more games than I lost. I mean, you can't do better than that, right? So if we keep trending this way, we'll be hopefully in 4 digits and 3 digits, and we'll see how it goes. This week, too, speaking of Sheep and not being available, I was supposed to fill in for his team. I forget which Legacy I think it is. I was supposed to fill in his Legacy THL team because he was unavailable. But the person that I was supposed to play, like, I got all set up. I was ready to go Saturday night. I'm sitting there like, let's play some games. But because they were supposed to play on Saturday, the person then said, "Oh, I'm too busy. I can't do it." So then I ended up getting ready for nothing. But I tried to fill in for Sheep, even though Sheep wouldn't fill in for me here. But it's fine. But Jay, what have you been doing outside of Hearthstone?
I've been making content about Hearthstone. I started a new series on my channel, and it's like what I dislike about this class. And it's kind of funny because everybody's like, why isn't this like why I hate? Hate isn't in my vernacular. It's fun. I'm finding all of these decks and all of these cards for each class that I'm happy they're not in the game right now, or mad that they're in the game right now. And I'm just having fun, just, rambling about cards like I like doing. And then just doing the normal stuff like, working to pay the bills, mortgage, stuff like that.
Yeah, I've noticed that your numbers seem to be trending in the right direction on your content, your budget decks, your usual chats about This Week in Hearthstone. Seems to be going really well.
Yeah, I'm loving what I've been able to do. I started doing this like November of 2023, like right at the end of November 2023, and I'm having fun doing it. And it's helping me, it's helping me learn all these extra tools that you didn't know that you actually wanted. Like, hey, look, I can do this editing here. I can work on this. I can work on script writing. I'm understanding the game so much more now that I'm having conversations about the game for those that are either don't have a lot of dust to spend, so they're very frugal with their budgets, or they don't have a lot of time to play, so they don't know what to play right now. And I think that's making me a better player as well.
Fantastic. All right, Doc, I could play the news normal bumper because I wrote it. You have 20 seconds to tell us about your week. Go. I'm just kidding. How was your week?
It was really good. Was just getting ready because Cortland's youngest brother graduated high school, and we had his graduation party this yesterday, and that was a lot of fun. We also got to play family D&D for the first time in a long time, and it was just obvious we hadn't played in a while because it was just family chaotic energy most of the session. They essentially ran straight to the boss of the dungeon, but with all the laughing and breaks we had to take for just things that were happening, it took us like 3 hours to get to the dungeon room, even though they were just headed straight there and avoided like a bunch of the combat encounters that were set up. It was still a fantastic time. It was really great. And then just more stuff for like the frogs. Like we've took a couple trips to get more crickets and stuff for the crickets so that the crickets don't just like die in the critter keeper that we have them in right now, because the frogs are growing, so we got to feed them like at least like 4 to 5 crickets every day. And then Sundays now are like our regular like tank maintenance day, so we cleaned all the enclosures for the geckos. I have 4 crescent geckos, and then the frogs are in one enclosure, so we did that. It's just a big chore day today. I got done making another magic deck today. It's still not optimized, but it should be fun and playable. And then just played some Commander with brother-in-law yesterday. Just been fun doing stuff and trying to plan stuff out for summer and all that kind of fun stuff. So it's been fun just chugging along. How about yourself, Tito?
Instead of connecting all those crickets directly to the frogs, have you tried Cricket Wireless? Sorry.
No.
So Friday was my last day officially working. So I have been job hunting for a while, but now I am officially on the job hunt. I may have to take some kind of, between jobs. I go to unemployment tomorrow and do the whole thing and find out how much I can actually work because, I have to make more money than unemployment gives me. And if you work too much, even if you make too little, it doesn't matter to them. So got to do all that math, and we'll start doing that tomorrow. I don't plan on focusing on that. I will give you guys updates because people have asked. But we're trucking. We're going to figure it out. We're positive. We're feeling good. Hopefully we'll just land a new situation that is better than the previous. Outside of that, we had a yard sale this weekend, which was nice. And while I was doing it, I decided, you know what? I went to I have a, like everybody, I have a big block of things that had all my cables and wires and adapters and old routers and Sound Blaster cards and raid cards and whatever. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. And I pulled it all out, put it in boxes, left it out for the yard sale, sold a couple things, but then everything else went to Goodwill. So I did it. I got rid of my old man stash of things that we might need eventually, because it's always like, oh, we'll use this at some point. No, you won't. And if I do, I'm an adult. I can buy a new one. So I'm happy. It feels like a big burden has been lifted. I'm a little shaky. Like, I don't have that what if something does, we need something, but it felt good. Got rid of it. Outside of that, I've been starting to try to go through my Magic collection and curate it, like I said, because I'm probably going to sell most of it. Maybe I can pull out a Commander deck, but probably good to just offload it. And when I want to start playing again, reinvesting in stuff, but we'll see. Right now, I've gone through my lands, my special lands, the cards that are multicolored, which I always thought those would be worth more money, but most of those I've seen haven't been really all that great, at least the ones that I have. And I'm through, I think, G on blue. So it's a slow process. So I'm using Deckbox to put all my collection together. they don't seem to have something like that for Pokemon, because I was going to say, you know what, my kids' Pokemon collection is small enough for I should start doing that at the same time. So as we grow it, we can add to it and do it and have it already organized. But there doesn't seem to be like a deck box online where you can just kind of catalog all your Pokemon cards and do that. So I thought that was weird. I figured that would be out there. Somebody would have done that somewhere, but maybe it's been blocked or something like that by the company that runs it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's possible. Pokemon Company and Nintendo are very, very particular in what they let people do with stuff revolving their property with that. So who knows? I'm surprised that that's not a thing that's readily available too, by the way.
Yeah.
That just makes a lot of sense.
You would think that if all it's doing is promoting their content, I mean, promoting their products and not really stealing anything, just like, hey, this is how you can organize things and maybe talk to people about trading or something like that. I don't know. I think it should be out there. So if it's out there and I don't know about it, please let me know, because I couldn't find it. So this week, we're going to talk about, we're going to do another Dexplanation. Not really Dexplanation. I'm going to change that. I'm going to cut that. We're going to do a new deck guide. And if this deck guide happens to also lead into the fact that it gets nerfed into the ground before Bread and Butter airs, like Real Lock did, maybe I won't do these anymore. But I don't think that's going to happen. So, so that was kind of sad. I was like, oh, hey, we got this nice little guide out that's for a deck that no one's ever going to play because it just doesn't exist anymore. So Buff Pally, it's one of the top decks in the meta right now. It's probably tier 1 or tier 2, depending on which area of the meta you're at with your diamond or gold or high diamond or high legend or whatever. I think it's all mostly tier 1, but it could be a little bit tier 2 and everywhere. The idea, very simple. You want to make things big and then hit your opponent with those big things. There's a couple different lists out there. Most of them you have your Muscletrons, you have your Grind Street Outfitters, you have Leroy, you have Audio Medics for a little bit of healing, you have the Outfitters, which if for those that don't know, I think it's a 3 mana 2/2 that you can give whatever its attack is to another minion. So in a buff deck, it's really nice because it just picks up those buffs, and then for 3 mana you can give those buffs to another minion, like a Leroy. So it's a really effective card in there. But it's basically just you're making things that can get big and go face. In the mulligan, it depends on what you're seeing. If you're in faster matchups, like say Token Hunter, you want to keep things like Drone Deconstructor, your Righteous Protectors, your Audio Medics, because you're going to need to fight for board early, because those decks will run you over before you can get your guys all buffed, which is fine. But in other matchups, like say if you're going against a Insanity Warlock, which is the new Pain Warlock or the old Pain Lock, which is pretty good deck out there, prevalent. You're gonna want a hard mulligan for your instrument techs or your painters of the weapon, which is the buff weapon. If you have an instrument tech in your hand, you can throw painters back because you're gonna draw one off of the instrument tech. So it's better to get some other things. There's no spells in most versions of the deck, so you run Magatha, and Magatha doesn't always win. I mean, it always wins. You always get 5 cards, and your opponent gets none. But one of the best parts about this deck is when the rogue or priest play the Benevolent Banker, and they quick draw it, and they just stare at the fact they don't have any cards to discover because you have no spells for them to steal. So that is a lot of fun with this deck. But that's basically the gist of it. Is you want to make things big and you want to hit them face. This is mostly just going to be a few quick tips because we don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about it. If you're going to play Magatha and you have painters equipped, don't swing and then play Magatha. Yes, if you swing first, you'll have a slightly big Magatha, but you'd rather get that +1/+1 on the 5 cards you just drew rather than the 1+1/+1 on the Magatha. So if you're going to play Magatha that turn, hold your swing and then play. You might burn a card. Don't worry too much if you have exactly 10 cards in your hand at the end of the thing. You have your entire deck is minions, so Sometimes you'll maybe burn something unfortunate, but don't let that hinder you from playing Magatha when you need to, because you'll get so much more value of having all those other minions in your hand than the one card that you might burn. Now, one different way you have to possibly mulligan if you're playing a Reno deck, if you know you're playing a Reno deck or you suspect you're playing a Reno deck, it's hard to win after they play the Reno. You try to get under them, you try to hit them in the face, you try to get them down before they play Reno. But if they play Reno, it's really hard to come back, because that next turn you only have one slot, and then now you have to kind of regain board, regain those buffs, and at that point, if they're playing Reno, they're probably going to be control-y and knock your things out, and you're going to have a hard time to get through. So in those particular cases, it's actually not a bad idea to keep Leroy or keep Outfit Tailor or keep both, because you can get buffs on them early, and then that way you may have them at that point to be big enough where you can just go face and kill them in one swing. So just keep that in mind. If you are seeing a lot of Reno at the time, just keep those charge minions. Not necessarily the what's it called? The pirate. Anyway, the swashbuckler, I think, or let's say, I can't remember the name. The pirate that is a charger. If you have a weapon in hand, make sure that one's a bit troubling sometimes. Deckhands, right? South Sea deckhands.
Yep.
That one is tricky because you're gonna misorder things with the deckhands. They're great cards. Don't swing and then play your deckhand if it's your last swing of the weapon, because then your deckhands don't go charge. They lose their ability to charge if you no longer have the weapon. It's easy to do that, and it feels bad. Also, don't play your deckhands and then swing, because then you still can't go charge, because then your weapon is destroyed. So those are two things that I've done and I've seen other people do. I've seen actually higher level streamers do this as well, is you get them down, you're like, okay, I got them down, and then you're like, okay, my next thing is to get the instrument attack or whatever it is, and you swing with your weapon, and then you can't charge. So make sure you keep an eye on that. We have Toy Captain Terum in this, which is good for getting through threats, because you get the 1/1, turn something into 1, you swing with the weapon, and you get through their taunts. Keep in mind, though, that if it's on turn 5, if you don't have something to target, you can't get the mini, because you have to. Well, you get the mini, but you can't target something. You have to target one of the opponent's minions if you don't have a minion on board, and that's fine. Sometimes actually targeting one of their minions and making it 3/7 is not bad. But also remember that when you swing with the weapon afterwards, your mini, or if you play Grime Street, if you play Muscletron, you end up buffing your mini as well. So sometimes you forget that you have a 1/1 in hand that's now a 5/5, and now that 5/5 is not going to be as efficient in clearing your enemy minions as it would have been. Outside of that, it's a pretty much most of the lists are pretty solid. They're very refined. Right now, there's probably 1 or 2 cards you can switch around. I have been running the Celestial Dragon, I think it's called. That it's a 4 mana 3/3. If you don't attack with this minion, draw 2 cards. It's essentially a 4 mana draw 2 cards with 3/3 body. It's not bad, but I don't know if it's necessarily optimal. People have been running Yogg lately. Yogg has been in the meta everywhere, mostly to counteract Virus Ziliax. So you can actually put this in your deck just to kind of counter their Yoggs. So if they yoink something from you, you can yoink it right back, or even maybe get rid of some taunt minion in your way, because you do want to go face with this deck as much as possible. The main Ziliax, this runs Ziliax, it'd be kind of silly not to, but the lists that had been mostly running Twin and Power, which is Battlecry, make a copy, and at the end of every turn, double this minion's stats. It's a nice little easy big threat that you can have if you have a buff board. I mean, if you buff these guys up. But also, a lot of these lists have been kind of switching to Virus Ziliax as well, because Virus Ziliax is just really annoying, and they have to swing through it 4 times. It's got heal, it's got poison, so it's just kind of a pain. But overall, you just make big things and hit them. It's not a brainless deck. There's a lot of fun. You can get a lot of good combos. Oh, I should have mentioned, this week on walk to work, Blister Guy actually took a couple of my games that he spectated and reviewed them, and I was playing this deck. So that was a lot of fun. He came in and spectated my games, and then he went through them on. It was fun to listen to him talk about my games that I remember. And he makes his choice. Oh, we should have played this instead of this, and very, very gently, like some minor things. And I don't necessarily agree with all the choices that he kind of thought, but it's great to get feedback. And it was really, makes you think, and I enjoyed it. So have you guys played this deck? Are you guys been enjoying it? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I myself love this hand buff paladin. Hand buff has been a thing for a while now. I love the fact that there's been so many variations, and a lot of the conversations that I have are about the budget style decks. This deck does not cost a lot of dust. This one has a lot of opportunities for you to switch something out if you do not have anything. It doesn't kill the deck if you only have one or two cards, that aren't optimal. There's a lot of variations you can have of this deck. And then really this deck, if you're just starting out, it's easy to pilot, and this could take you all the way to legend from bronze. I mean, if you're just playing this and you get really good and the optimal, wins, the opponents that you're facing, you'll know what cards they're playing. This could take you all the way to legend. And, really the only real counter to this is another paladin right now. It's very strong, very fun.
I also think that Hunter is a bit of a tough matchup if it's the aggro Hunter. But yeah, agreed. And there were also different packages. If you want to play the excavation package, for example, I just found out a few minutes ago before we started the podcast that I believe CoinConceed just did a explanation about this deck, but the excavate package, which was Edel's running, it's very strong as well. In fact, it's what I played for I'd say the last half of last month before I switched over to this matchup. Finley's really good in that matchup, and it's nice to have those free package +3/+3 on everything. So when you draw it, it's already buffed. So you find the play style that you like, and you'll get there. Doc, you have any thoughts on this? Have you tried it? You gonna try it?
I haven't tried it, but it definitely sounds like something that's up my alley as far as the decks I kind of enjoy. So I'll give this a shot. Hopefully I'll be able to get significantly more games in standard with this than I've been getting in standard the last month or so.
Well, anything times 0 is greater than 0.
Hey, I make sure I get my card back. I've only missed a few, but as listeners know, I overall really haven't enjoyed standard the last 2 expansions or so. I get pretty hype on release as everyone else does because all the new toys come out, but for whatever reason, just the last 2 expansions I haven't super enjoyed the metas, and so I've just been sticking to BGs and just trying to find the fun in Hearthstone where I can find it. But I definitely do want to try to play standard in this deck because this deck does sound pretty fun.
Well, you might not even need to play standard right now if you're looking to find the fun in Hearthstone, because there is a new...
Oh, believe me.
There is a new twist happening. So that's what we're here to talk about tonight. So it's a new mode. So basically, Twist has been, I think, out for 3 months now, maybe two or 3 months. And they've now introduced this new mode where... It's not duels, but it feels like it's drawn inspiration from duels. Each hero, there are 19 heroes right now, and each of them correlate to an actual class. So I believe you have Patches, and he's actually a rogue, and that you if you discover cards from him, you are discovering rogue cards. And the nice thing about it is if you're trying to get your wins to They count as class wins. So if you are trying to build up, say, maybe 500 warrior wins because you hate warrior but you want to get there, maybe you'll find a warrior twist deck that you like. Now, the way you play is you need the legendary. So if it's Patches, you need to actually own Patches. I believe we have 4 minions you get right off the bat because they are currently in core. The only other exception is that you still get it for free, but there's no longer Illidan as a card. They changed its name when they made Demon Hunter. So you need Metamorphosis, which is kind of on theme. I kind of like the way they did that. Each hero has a unique hero power and a passive effect. So that's kind of like what like duels. Like you have a passive effect that you might have drawn from your treasures, and you have that unique hero power. And this twist format will go for about 2 months, and next month, not about 2 months, exactly 2 months. And the next month though, we'll get 9 new heroes to kind of mix it up, and then they're going to take a couple months off the twist again, and then they're bringing back the Wonders format with the Caverns of Time cards. We don't know if they're going to make any changes to that or not, to kind of keep it fresh. And then they're going to take the rest of the year off. And so this mode, which actually has a lot of people excited, it sounds like we're only going to have it for 2 months until 2025. What are you guys' initial thoughts on just the idea of the mode and whatnot? Jay?
This mode, this format of Twist really makes me miss what Duels was. And I know that Duels, did not have a huge player base. I know there was tried and true diehard fans of the mode. I did not give it enough of a shot. And then when it was gone, when they took it off the client, I was a little bummed. This is perfect. This is bringing me back to like, okay, this is Duels adjacent. This is all the things that I liked about it. And like you said, before, the great thing is this counts towards your class wins or what have you. I was playing Priest today. And that's saying something when I'm never on Priest. Usually that's a bet. Like, I'll bet you can't play Priest, and I'll do it just to spite someone. You're not going to catch me playing Priest games, and I was playing Priest games. These are some fun games that are happening right now in Twist, and I'm excited.
Doc?
Yeah, so I've only played one deck because I don't have all of them. I have probably about half of them or so. But the one that I was the most excited for was Cthulhu. So I've been jamming a lot of Cthulhu. It's just fun to do Cthulhu things. I loved the Whispers of the Old Gods meta so much. Yeah. I played so much Cthulhu Warrior. I even made Cthulhu decks without Cthulhu because the decks didn't need Cthulhu in them to still pop off some of the other cards, which was not good. It was just fun. I played a Cthulhu Warrior that didn't play Cthulhu, but it did Velcor Emperor Twin stuff, and that was the whole point of that deck for me, was just to do stuff with the twins. But it's fun, and you get to play with the fancy hero portraits if they're available, which is fun because I'm never going to buy the $25 hero portraits for any of these classes, but it's great. I'm enjoying it. Cthulhu starts in your opening hand as Cthulhu, and then his passive is every time two of your minions die, you get +1/+1 on your Cthulhu.
I like that you had said that the Cthulhu is doing Cthulhu things. One of the things that you don't see a lot of specific tribe agency. You could go over to other games. You can go to Magic's Gathering. You can make a zombie deck. You can go over, and you could make a vampire deck or what have you. These are closest to that tribe agency decks as I've ever seen before, and I think that's part of why I'm so excited. When you're playing a rogue, you're doing rogue things. When you're playing with, Finley, you're doing a lot of Murloc things, and I love that. I'm very excited about this. I could be playing this a lot more than normally because of these new decks that are bet.
Now, before we get a little more into it, there was a little bad news with this. There was an exploit that people found, and they were able to make their own decks or something, and they were able to, on turn one, do things like play Purified Shard or whatnot, and at times it made our wonderful Hearthstone team have to work on the weekend through Saturday, but they were, from what I understand, they were able to resolve the issue. They found out about it, and I think they would fix it in under 16 hours on the weekend. So kudos to them for working so hard. And if you're gonna exploit a game, what are you doing? You're wasting everybody's time.
Especially this. What are you gaining?
Yeah.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. Like, exploit for, like, if you're going to do it, don't do it. But if you're going to do it, have something that you can sell to do, I just don't understand why they're exploiting this game.
No, I don't either. And to be fair, I haven't played the mode yet. I have been focused on standard because I just am addicted to trying to get better at standard. And if I'm not doing anything to do that, I feel like I am taking time away from that during my Hearthstone time. Now, I do play a game of duos or two, usually at the end of stream with Pilot, but outside of that, it's all standard unless I'm like doing something around, like I'm cleaning my office, I'll throw up some Battleground games because I can do my turn, go clean, and not focus on it. But I'm looking forward to trying this, but it's not tops on my priority. Maybe it should be, but Doc was saying that he's playing Cthulhu. From what I understand, Cthulhu is actually one of the worst heroes right now. So what's actually good, Jay?
Right now, well, if you're not exploiting, it sure seems like you are exploiting, because Arthas is a little bit overpowered. I'm seeing that the passive effect and the hero power just work so well together, and there is nothing that you need in that deck, because everything that you would need for any opponent, I could literally have my dog play the game for me, and I'm winning games off of Arthas. A lot of them have some strengths to it. There's a few of them. I think one of them also, the only thing I'm seeing here on my side is, each one of the Leroy Jenkins, that's very powerful. Sir Finley, that one's got a lot of gas right up front. I don't think N'Zoth is doing it. The N'Zoth was a fun one, but I don't think that's doing as much as it has, as everybody's expecting it to. And then the Priest one as well. Like I said, if I'm giving kudos to Priest, that's saying something. That was fun way of getting to the win. And essentially with Xyrella, you're trying to get your character to 60 health. As soon as you do, you win the game. So it's an interesting way of playing Hearthstone, and I'm all for it.
I think it'd be fun to actually win with Xyrella the old-fashioned way, because I don't think you have the tools to do that, right? So it'd be kind of funny if, like, you actually, ran into them and killed them with Xyrella instead of healing the 60. So what have you? So you've played. I think you've played a bunch of things. What have you played? And have you played the Arthas? Have you played? What have you enjoyed?
I've played Arthas. I've played, exactly like Doc said, the tribe agency deck. So I wanted to play pirates. I wasn't a fan of that one too much, but it really feels like they're very tribe centric, very centric to the class. Xyrella, it was fun. I've played probably one or two of each one of them. Maybe not the druid right now, and there's still I think there's 4 or 5 that I haven't even crafted yet, just because I don't have those cards for some reason. Maybe they're on another account of mine, but there's something for everybody to at least give it one shot.
But what would you say, which one did you have the most fun with?
I mean, I had the most fun. So Death Knight is now my new jam and has been since Plague Death Knight. So I think it's a tie between the Lich King and Arthas. Arthas being the stronger one, but the Lich King is still fun. The hero power that, gives your little zombie reborn and everything is pretty fun to do.
I'm sorry, listeners. We will make sure that this is Jay's last appearance on that after telling us about his play.
Yeah, there you go. I knew it. I knew it.
So one of the things they're planning on doing is they're planning on balancing. One of the real faults they had with Twist in the past is that they didn't react fast enough, because the windows where we have balance updates in Standard didn't really line up with when they needed balance updates in Twist. So the way they're doing it this time around is each hero has different health starting points. So it sounds like that's really kind of the knobs that they're going to start turning is, if a deck is too good, maybe they'll give it less health, and if a deck is too bad, maybe they'll give it more health. Which is an interesting way to do it, because they can now they can tune those without sending out a balance patch. outside of that, though, what decks do you think need tweaks? Like, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to change any cards or make any adjustments on patch days, but if they are, it's probably going to not necessarily be changes to the cards themselves, but maybe changes to cards that are in the deck. So, from your experience, what decks need tweaks?
I think that right now, they've already said it, throughout social media that they are looking at Arthas. I do imagine that they are going to just mess around with the passive effects or the health, what have you. They're not going to change the cards. At least that's what I'm seeing. I think that there is some outliers there, like in terms of like Illidan, in terms of Cthulhu. They need maybe like 5 more health here and there, to just stay a little bit higher, stay a little bit longer in the game. I did like the King Crush, the +8 attack on the hero power. The problem is, by the time you have the mana for the hero power, it's a little too late. So maybe them tweaking that down from 6 mana to maybe 5 or 4. Each one of them has little inconsistencies. And one of the things that what they might do, if they're not going to go ahead and they're not going to, change the mana cost or the health or what have you of the actual cards, maybe they'll add cards or removed cards in there. Listen, Arthas, you need to take these 3 cards out. There's no reason to have them in there. But throw 2 others instead or what have you. And some of these decks have more than, the normal 30 cards. So maybe it's adjustments with how many cards are in there. I like this idea better than balancing all of those cards. And I like the way that this is being done a little bit differently than standard or what have you, when you're like, okay, this one's too broken, let's change the mana cost.
Doc, what about the decks I know you've said you pretty much only played Cthulhu. What of the decks you played against?
So I've played against Death Knight. I lost. I haven't beaten Death Knight yet. I have beaten Arthas 3 times with Cthulhu. I don't know if it's just me getting lucky and them getting unlucky. But I haven't gotten lethal yet with Cthulhu, but Cthulhu has cleared the board, opened the door for lethal. It become my turn to swing, and then they concede before Cthulhu can kill them. But I mean, it's fun. Like I see these other classes that I want to play, and I'm debating whether or not to craft these legendaries to get to play these new classes in Twist. The one that I'm gonna have to do is Finley, because I have to play Murlocs. I am legally obligated to play Murlocs. Like that is my thing. So I'm gonna probably do that tonight while I'm in bed, trying to go to sleep, just jamming some Murloc games because I love me some little froggy fish boys.
All right, so the mode has actually gotten a lot of positive reviews so far, as just community response. I don't think I've actually seen anybody say anything negative about the mode, actually, except for the fact that people were exploiting and whatnot. But my concern is, I'm going to be a little negative Nancy here for a minute. How long is this new car smell going to last? Like, the decks don't change, and maybe they get tweaked. There's 19 heroes. How long does this last? Like, is this sustainable? Is it still going to be good 3 weeks from now, or are we going to play it for a week and a half and then be like, all right, that was fun, and then move on? Like, what are you guys' thoughts on that, Jay?
I think with the amount of heroes that are in now, the amount of tweaks that they can make. I mean, they've said that they could even do weekly little tweaks or what have you. And the fact we're getting more next month, it's absolutely sustainable for the next 2 months. Whether this is a 6-month mode, I don't know, because they're not gonna, it's gonna be the same thing. What do we have situations with a month after the new expansion comes out? Everybody's saying, hey, I'm playing the same things. So I don't know if it would be like a 6-month thing, but for the time it's going to be in Twist, I'm a fan of it, and I think it's going to be okay.
What are your thoughts, Doc?
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat as Jay. With the changes that they're going to be able to do to like the health, that's the easiest way that they can balance without having to follow like a patch window. But we do have 19 heroes. It is it is collection based, so like not everyone's going to have everything all at once. Like some people like myself are going to potentially like craft legendaries to play more things as like this twist mode goes on, which I think, although it was frustrating last night because I wasn't aware that I needed the legendaries to be able to play these decks. So I get on and then I have about half of them unavailable. It's fine. Like I can overlook that. But I think being able to craft them to play an entire deck makes the idea of crafting a legendary much more easier to swallow than crafting a card for a deck. So you craft a card, you get access to 29 other cards in this new mode where like everything's brand new. So, and then they're going to be injecting new heroes into it not too long from now either. So I think that the shelf life for this game is going, or for this mode of Twist is going to be pretty good.
That's fair. And I don't actually have a negative Nancy feeling about it. I just wanted to, talk about it. So out of the gate, is there anything you wish they could do to fix change? Well, like if you had to give them some advice and then you go back 3 days and relaunch, what would you like to have seen them change, fix, or update? Okay.
I think the main thing was we did not know this until after the fact, but the challenge a friend is not working correctly. And had that been working originally, I think the exploits, if they had happened or not happened or what have you, there's a little bit of a negative connotation to this mode already. And there's a little negative connotation with, okay, well, it's broken and people are hacking and you can't challenge a friend. I think that's going to limit it. In 3-4 days, those that might not have had that opinion to play the game, like my wife and I were going to play on Friday night after dinner, and we went to try to do the challenger friend. It didn't work. So is she going to do that again? If I ask her to, maybe the newness, the freshness of it is going to be lost on the casual player, and they won't come back to it after seeing what they're seeing, now. That's really it. I mean, that's the only thing.
How about yourself, Doc? Any thoughts?
The only thing is like, and they wouldn't have been able to see this exploit coming, but like, if somehow they were able to like see it before the go live button for the patch was solidified, that's really the only thing. Cause like, this is just fun new Hearthstone mode, basically. Like it's like Jay said at the top of the show, it's duels adjacent, and we have brand new hero powers for everybody and passives for everyone. So it's like standard BGs in a sense, where you get some kind of new thing that we've never had before. So I, even with the exploit aside, I didn't know about the challenger friend bug until Jay had just mentioned it. But like those two things aside, overall, I think this mode was a home run.
Yeah.
Like I kind of wish that this could be a permanent mode that they would just rotate heroes in and out of for Hearthstone. So I enjoy that kind of stuff because I enjoy tribal so much. Most of my decks in Magic are tribal decks. And so being able to just get this pool of cards where it's like, okay, here's your sealed tribal deck. Just go play. Go play something that's synergistic that you didn't have to put the deck building time into. These are just cards that work together for this end goal. Go run with it. I like that a lot.
Right. So we mentioned that we're not going to see this mode again until 2025, after these 2 months, right? Unless something changes. Doesn't mean they won't change their mind, but as of right now, that's the plan. So do you guys, I'm hearing that you guys want this to be a permanent mode, which, I understand, but do we feel like that them making this disappear for so long, is that like the right thing to do? Or do we think that, having it go away and then have it come back 6 months? Is this the McRib? Is it going to be good when it comes back every couple years or whatever like that, or every year? And then it's like, oh yes, it's that time of season. Or do you think that it should be here all the time? I guess I'll ask too is, should this be Twist? Do you want to see them do other things with Twist? Do you want to see this be Twist? Or do you want to see this get pulled out of Twist and then have Twist be what it is and maybe come up with new things?
It depends on what the show's feeling is on the McRib. Was it a good or a bad thing? Anyway, Listen, this is why I said duels adjacent, so I'm kind of torn here. I didn't play a lot of duels, and absence will make the heart grow fonder sometimes. I think it's okay if this mode is gone in 2 months and they try something else, because something else could be even better than what we're getting, now. Duels was taken down because it wasn't played as much, and maybe there was a lot more time that needed to be done to balance it or what have you. Maybe it was, broken at times or whatnot. But this is really good. This is really good, and I think that if it's something to where, and it doesn't even have to be 19, give me 12. Hey, listen, every 3 months there's going to be a new type of mode like this in Twist, and then we don't have to worry about month on, month off. We don't have to worry about it. If they told us that, hey, listen, you want, like if Blizzard and Team 5 want us to, put money into this mode, with crafting whatever we need to do or what have you, and then the mode goes away, so Twist goes away, a month here, and then it's 2 months on, and then another month off or what have you. I'm not a fan of that. So if they could put this type of mode in with the other stuff on the months that it's just going to be a dead mode. If you're not going to play anything, put 6 of these decks in, switch it every week, do something wonky or what have you. It doesn't matter. This is good. And it makes me wish that I played duels more. And it's not even the exact same situation.
Doc?
Yeah, so I agree with Jay. I do think it is a good idea for this mode to leave, because we definitely don't want it to be like the story of they don't make this leave and then they don't have some kind of significant update or change to it, and then we just get bored of it. And who knows, maybe what else they have coming down the pipeline, like Jay said, is another home run format, like mode for Twist. And that's the thing. Like if Twist can get these formats, multiple formats that are home runs, just rotate through like the fan favorites. Like I wouldn't have a problem with that at all if they had like 12 different Twist modes that are just absolute bangers, as long as like we would be able to get those bangers back. Like, I don't want this to be a mode that's here for a long time and then gone forever. I would rather it be like 2 months on, X months off. They change it, they update it, they experiment with other stuff along the way, and then this comes back better than it was the previous time it was back. Like that's my feeling and my hope that I have for this format of Twist, that it's something that they'll continuously build up and change it in ways where it just gets better and it's different every time. Because Hearthstone has so many legendary cards. Granted, the overall number of tribes of minions and stuff is generally the same unless they add a new tribe. But the brains behind Hearthstone on the dev team are so magnificent that I just can't wait for the next iteration of this. Like, I'm excited to see what next 6 legendary heroes that we're going to be getting in this format. Like, the game is their oyster.
It's 9.
Well, yeah, I did I say 6? Same potato. Just flip it upside down.
Okay, so here's my concern. And they released Twist, and they released it with a new Wild expansion, which was really a Twist expansion of Caverns of Time. They wanted to sell packs. They wanted to make money. This was their attempt to make money after duels, after mercenaries, after whatever. That didn't really fly that much, right? Like the set was kind of meh. People didn't love it that much. It got old after a couple days. This particular one, you have to craft the minions, so that's taking dust out of your economy. But if you're a whale, it doesn't matter. You're still buying whatever you're buying. That's not going to change. You have plenty of dust. If you are a free-to-play player, if you like this, maybe you'll craft something. I don't know if that's going to cause you to buy packs when the next expansion comes around because you spent your dust on these minions. I don't know. I think if you're already there, it might just cause you not to play the game. So what I'm trying to figure out here is, how are they making money on this? Because if they're not making money on this, then the higher ups are going to say, why are we doing this? And let's not do this anymore. Let's focus on things that make money. Right? So where's the monetization for this, Jay?
Two ways. Number one, I think they would have more buy-in from the players' wallets if Twist didn't go away here and there. 2 months on, 1 month off, 1 month off. Let's take a break for, Memorial Day, and we're not going to be around for 2 months or what have you. Keep it ongoing, because if I'm not mistaken, and I hope I'm not mistaken here, a lot of these legendaries that we could have gotten from, you could have pulled these from Caverns of Time packs. Am I not wrong? So that's how you're going to do it. Everything is going to be based on, monetization of, hey, go ahead and give us some more signatures of these legendary cards. There's so many signature cards that they could work on. I think the monetization's there in the visual look and feel, and maybe some, different hero power skins potentially. But if they just, I did not buy any Caverns of Time packs, except for maybe 2 or 3 in that intro bundle or what have you. Why? Because I knew the mode wasn't going to be around all the time. But if we know that these packs that we're spending money on can be played January through December with not a 2-month waiting period or a break in that, and whatever we are pulling from those packs that we're purchasing are in any of those modes of Twist, I think you'll have a better buy-in. I think you'll have more people excited, as a whole for the mode, even if it isn't the best, version of it. Let's just say February's version of Twist is not the greatest for me. You know what? I'm waiting for the one that is going on now. I'll wait, and I will put buy-in in that, even though I don't need to craft those. Give me some cool cosmetics that I can buy for that, because I want to play that.
If they want to sell packs, you know what they do with Twist, in my opinion? Is they take, how last Twist we had the month where each day was the next day of an the next
thing. Yep.
Take Twist and say, you know what, we're doing the same thing, but instead of each day, it's a week. So you have a week of that meta, and then the next week you have a week of that meta, because then you have time to say, oh, I really want to play that deck. Oh, I need to get some whatever. And I think it's a lot more interesting, and that way you don't feel, because I wasn't interested in that mode because I wanted to do it, but I knew I wasn't going to keep up with it. And then it's kind of like, what is it today? How do I catch up? Which meta is it? What do I think? If you had a week with each of it,
right,
I think that would be so much more fun, because then it's like you'd have time for a mini pocket meta to develop. You get to see which decks people are playing. You have a little bit more time to innovate. You don't feel bad if your wife had an appendectomy and you couldn't play that day. So. And that's the thing. It's like, hey, I worked 16 hours that day. I didn't have a chance to play, and that was Ungoro. That was the one I wanted to play. That felt bad. I think it was a cool mode, but I think it felt bad for some people where it's like, oh, it was so condensed. And I get why they did it, but I think take that, make it a week long, make that 30 weeks. That's Twist for 30 weeks that people are going to invest in and enjoy. In some ways, especially the Wild community, possibly, and maybe even that could even be your that could be your marijuana to Wild. Oh, hey, I could. It's your gateway drug. It's like, hey, I can do this in Wild. You can go do this right now. Look at these old decks. That was, and these people that have only been playing since 2000 COVID or whatnot, 2020, they can see some of these old decks and be like, oh, I really want to try that. And I think that would have given you an opportunity, instead of having those as one day. So I think that's where they can possibly maybe even help. And then after those 30 days, then bring this mode back or something. But I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both of you on on each thing you guys had said. I do agree that I very much wish that the month of ever-changing metas was a week long for each meta, so people could get to enjoy it for more than just a day, so that you won't have FOMO if you can't play Hearthstone that day because people's lives are busy. I think that mode of Twist was a lot of fun. It was just way too fast and way too short. But I also, what Jay was saying, absolutely make the Caverns of Time packs be the way to monetize that specific mode of Twist. It makes so much sense, because and it will help fund other modes of Twists too, because they just have the Twist cards in them. So you can open these packs to get these cards for other modes of twists, but then if you pull a legendary, congratulations, you unlocked a new hero and an entirely new deck when this other mode of twist comes around. It just makes so much sense for that to be an option. Like, I want that to be the option so badly.
By the way, way too short, way too fast was my nickname in college. So, how often do you plan to play the mode, Jay?
This is my new mode for the next 2 months. Like I said, anytime you get me playing Priest is a good thing. I would have no problems playing a couple of more games of Xyrella to see how fast I could, complete what I needed to win the game. These are fun. Now, see me in 2 months, but right now the standard meta is we're on speaking terms, but we're not going to parties together right now. Sometimes I can't buy a win, so this just seems like everything that I want from Hearthstone right now for the next 2 months, at least for the foreseeable future, is in this mode. I'm pumped. I'm hyped.
Doc?
Yeah. So, yeah. If this becomes a mode that's in Hearthstone where it's at the tail end of an expansion leading up to a new one, I'm fine with that, because Hearthstone, generally, the community always feels really gripey and stale towards the end of an expansion release cycle. And so you're trying to find ways to have fun when standard's been where it's at the last couple months, and having a mode like this. Granted, it's taking hopefully a longer break than it will in the future when it comes back. But I think this would be a perfect book end of an expansion cycle event to be like, hey, you might not be liking how standard's going right now, but we still want to retain our player engagement. So here's Twist. Here's these new heroes in Twist. It's Hearthstone, but it's significantly different Hearthstone. That's my hope. But I plan on playing this every time I load up the game.
All right. Final thoughts, Doc.
10 out of 10 home run. This is a lot of fun. I cannot wait to see the new heroes that come out. I'm very excited for when it comes back to see the new stuff that they've been working up, because I'm sure the designs for the new version of this is going to be just as great, if not better. Just give me more happy, fun times in Hearthstone like this, please.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're thinking the last couple of iterations of Twist is holding you back from trying this version of Twist, stop what you're doing and try it. Try one game, try your favorite class, try your favorite tribe. Just give it a shot, and then hopefully you'll be able to see. I do like that it is a home run, and I'm very excited to be playing the game in this iteration. Makes me miss duels more, like I said.
I kind of wish they had a different metric for how you're playing. Like right now, they have the same kind of ladder as they have for Wild and Standard. You have the twist thing, but I think that this merits something different. I think it would be really cool if they had the best win percentages for Cthulhu players, best win percentages for Xyrella or whatever, and have some kind of, or maybe something, but something different, some kind of metric that would keep track of it. I also want to see them take this and make this into a solo mode, where you have to take a class and you have to beat the other 18 classes, and you have to do that with another class and beat the other, or whatever it might be, and then have this solo mode where you do that for all 19 classes or whatever it is, then you get a card back or something like that. That's content already built in there. That's I think could be cool. But I plan on trying it. I don't plan on playing it a lot. I plan on focusing on what I focus on. But I like that it's there. It sounds like a fun. I love how positive people have been about it right from the beginning. I worry that the shine is going to wear off after a week when everyone plays Arthas or whatever the best thing might be, and then they make the change and everyone plays Illidan because that's what the best thing might be. And I'm worried about that, and I'm worried about people getting kind of bored with it, but I hope not. And I hope it's something that people enjoy, because it sounds like everyone's worked really hard at it, and it seems like a lot of fun, so I hope they go with it. But Doc, there's a lot of information, but I think there's room for dessert. What do you think?
Yeah, dessert sounds good. So, Jay, we've had you on before, so we usually ask what your favorite dessert is. So what's cooking this week?
What is cooking this week? I don't even remember what my last dessert is that I said, so I'll have to check that episode again.
I believe it was humble pie.
Make sure we're
So if the bar,
No, wasn't it like a classic vanilla ice cream?
No. Listen, I had so much food this week. It's summertime. Things are getting awesome. While it's dessert and ice cream is a staple, now I kind of want a McRib sandwich.
Okay, but if we're going to the barbecue at your house, what are we getting?
We're getting whatever everybody's bringing. The best thing in the world is to have a neighborhood barbecue where you sit there and say to everybody, you just yell out the door, the grill is starting, and then everybody just brings stuff over. So you can have ribs 1 second. You can have hamburgers 1 second. You can have, chicken wings with this barbecue sauce that you've never had before because they've been working on it for 3 days because they have an idea that you're going to do one of those neighborhood barbecues. That's what I'm interested in cooking this weekend. And I might actually do that.
Heck yeah. That's awesome. I'm excited. I definitely look forward to see if you talk about it on Twitter at all, because I do like me some barbecue.
They're so much fun, and you really don't know what you're going to get. Like, it's just like, okay, what do I have right now that I can make?
We've been making, so this is, me and my wife have had this like 3 times now in the last like 2 weeks. It's so you get ribs, you get like the soft ribs, not bone-in ribs, but the soft ribs, and you get also sweet and sour sauce and some maple syrup and some sesame ginger sauce, and you one part of each, and you mix them all together, and you just smother the ribs in that and grill them like that. And it's not too overpowering, and it's just very, very, very good. So we've been living on that. My favorite thing to do is to barbecue on a Sunday or Saturday. And then I have food enough like through Thursday where I always have like a hot dog or a hamburger or ribs or steak or whatnot. And it's just like, it's not what's for lunch. We barbecued. Let's go hit the barbecue.
Heck yeah. Listeners, we do appreciate and value your opinions. So if you would feel so inclined, please leave us a review. We'd prefer 5 stars because it helps with visibility, but please give us a rating however you feel like, and let us know what we're doing, the good, bad, the ugly, because we want to make this show the best that it can be for us, but also the best it can be for you. And if you leave us a review or email the show, we'll read it out on the show. So please keep that in mind, and thank you. Jay, where can people find you?
If you are on social media, it's This Week in HS. If you go on to YouTube, you can type in This Week in Hearthstone, and you'll see my smiling face, usually talking about Hearthstone, sometimes Battlegrounds, but never Mercenaries.
Doc, how about yourself?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Mastodon, and hopefully Twitch in like 2 weeks. Because I'm busy next weekend.
Are you joining the Scoob Show or something?
Nope. Firing up my own stream key.
Look at you. And you can find me at Tito Santana HS on both Twitter and Twitch. Jay, give me shout outs this week.
I have 2 shout outs. So the Hearthstone shout out is Ridiculous Hat and Team 5. They get a round of applause because last night when all the craziness was happening with these exploits that were going on, Ridiculous Hat is posting everywhere at 1 a.m. Eastern time on a weekend of, hey, we're working on it. We see it. We see you. We're working on it. And then today, all of Team 5 was just like, yep, I'm in a morning meeting. And they're just working together to make this an awesome experience for all of us. And I love them for it, and I appreciate them for it. And I hope everyone else does too. The personal shout out is to my daughter who's graduating high school in a few weeks, and she's really smart, she's really awesome, and I love her, and she's going to be the first female president if it's not something that's been done by the time she graduates.
Doc, any shout outs this week?
Yeah, first and foremost, Jay, thank you so much for coming on when we desperately needed someone to come on. So thank you for being able to do this so last minute. You're always a pleasure to talk to. You're a very positive member of the community, and I enjoy seeing your favorite card in Hearthstone every day. That has been such a fun thing, and you've been doing it for a long time now. So thank you.
Thank you.
And then, yeah, of course. And then I just want to congratulate my younger brother-in-law, Colin, because just like Jay's daughter, he graduated or is graduating high school and is getting ready to move on to the next step with the college thing, and just proud of him. It's been fun getting to see him and everything he's done the last couple of years.
I'm going to echo what Jay said, because obviously, yes, the Hearthstone team is working hard over the weekend when they shouldn't have to. So, and it's funny too, because I see things now. I'm on Reddit now, which I've avoided it like the plague for the last 10 years, but I'm on it. I'm looking at it. And there's some, like, I come across things and I'm like, oh, Hat should know about that. And then I just scroll down, and eventually I found out that Hat's already responded to that. So he's everywhere. I also want to shout out to Electric Sheep City, because we're sad he wasn't able to be here today, but, we hope your wife's okay and your family's okay. And he's coming off being sick for the last couple weeks too, so he's had a bit rough go of it, and he's still as happy and positive as ever. So keep at it, keep at it, Sheep. We get you back. If you need anything, just let us know. And I also want to shout out Dragon Rider, who hasn't had the best couple weeks, as it were. And, she's going to be back in, I believe, 2 weeks on the show, and we're looking forward to that. So, if you're having a rough time, just make sure you reach out to your friends and talk to them, because they're here for you. And we're here for you, too. But anyway, guys, I think that's it. We're toast. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Slide two brothers meet one another when they slide up to the mic. It's bread and butter with one another. Let's start up that recording light.